Welcome back for another deep dive. You know those books that promise to unlock the secrets of millionaires?
Oh, yeah, like a peek behind the curtain.
Exactly. Well, today we're diving into one that's been making waves, The Millionaire Mind. And to help us make sense of it all, we have an expert who's really dug deep into this world.
Hey, glad to be here.
So when you hear millionaire, what image pops into your head? I'm betting it's not the guy next door mowing his lawn in khakis,
Probably not. More like a private jet in a mansion, right?
living the high life. But the millionaire mind paints a surprisingly different picture.
Yeah, it turns out a lot of these millionaires are, well, kind of normal.
Normal. How so?
They live in regular neighborhoods, drive American cars, blend in.
That's so unexpected. Why do you think that is?
The book argues that they've got the priorities straight. They value building a strong foundation, family, community, and of course, finances.
It's like they're playing the long game. Not flashy, but smart.
Exactly. And here's another surprise. A lot of them built their wealth before they hit 45.
Whoa, really? So much for needing decades to make millions.
Right. It's about making smart decisions early on, building that momentum.
So discipline and smart financial choices are key.
Absolutely. And this leads into one of the big themes of the book, successful intelligence.
Okay. Successful intelligence. What's that all about?
It's not just about having a high IQ, it's about being practical, creative, and socially intelligent.
So, like street smarts, but more.
Yeah, street smarts, problem-solving skills, being able to adapt to different situations. Then there's the creative side, thinking outside the box, coming up with new ideas.
And the social intelligence is about connecting with people, building those relationships.
Exactly. And according to the book, these three types of intelligence are way more important for success than just being book smart.
So it's more about navigating the real world than acing a test.
Right. And the book is full of stories about people who maybe weren't top of their class but had that successful intelligence in spades.
Do you think maybe some of them were underestimated early on, like they didn't fit the typical mold?
That's a really interesting point. The book does mention that a lot of millionaires felt overlooked or disregarded when they were younger.
Maybe that fueled their drive to prove themselves, to achieve something big.
Could be. Turning those setbacks into fuel for success. Speaking of setbacks, let's talk about risk-taking.
Right, millionaires are known for taking risks, but are they just reckless?
Not at all. They're calculated risk takers. They weigh the potential rewards against the risks, and they're not afraid to walk away if something doesn't feel right.
So discipline even when taking chances.
Absolutely. It's
Like-
like they've got this radar for opportunity, but they're also smart enough to know when to hold back.
And I bet a lot of that courage comes from experience, from learning from their past mistakes.
Exactly. It's a skill they've developed over time, not something they were necessarily born with.
Okay, so we've got discipline, smart risk-taking, this successful intelligence. What else makes up the millionaire mindset?
Well, this one might surprise you. A lot of millionaires are actually really frugal.
Wait, frugal? Like clipping coupons frugal?
Not quite that extreme, but they're definitely mindful with their money. They don't waste it on frivolous things or chase trends. They invest in quality things that last.
The book gives that great example of the millionaire who buys a really good pair of shoes that'll last him a decade instead of cheap ones every year.
Exactly. Thinking long-term about value.
So not cheap, but careful and strategic.
Yeah,
Seeing money as a tool, not just something to show off.
exactly.
This is fascinating stuff. And we're just scratching the surface. We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper into the millionaire mind.
So before we jumped into that break, we were talking about how millionaires are often super frugal.
Yeah, but how does that frugality play into their investing? Are they afraid of risk?
That's where it gets really interesting. Millionaires aren't scared of risk, but they're smart about it. They invest in what they know, stuff they're passionate about.
So not just blindly following the crowd or chasing the latest trend.
Nope. They do their research, they assess the risks, they make calculated decisions, plus they diversify their investments across different industries and asset classes.
Sounds like a very hands-on approach.
Definitely. And this links back to that idea of successful intelligence we discussed. They use their practical intelligence to analyze investments, their creative intelligence to spot opportunities, and their social intelligence to build relationships with advisors they trust.
So it's not about luck or throwing money at random things. It's about using their skills and smarts.
Exactly. And here's another thing that might surprise you. A lot of millionaires don't rely heavily on financial advisors.
But really, you'd think they'd have a whole team managing their money.
You'd think so, right? But remember, these folks are already pretty financially savvy. They like to be involved and trust their own judgment.
So they're not afraid to get their hands dirty, even when it comes to their investments.
Exactly. And speaking of hands-on, the book dives into how millionaires approach their careers. They're not afraid of hard work, but they work smart. They're always finding ways to be more efficient, to use their strengths, and delegate what others can do.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. They're super goal-oriented, setting clear objectives and working towards them strategically. It's not about chance. It's about having a plan and sticking to it.
So discipline is a big theme here.
Definitely. And it goes beyond just finances. They value their time and make choices about how they spend it, prioritizing family, health, and passions.
So it's not just about the money. It's about creating a fulfilling life.
Right. The book stresses that balance is crucial for long-term success. What's the point of wealth if you don't have time or energy to enjoy it?
Totally. It's about creating a life of abundance and freedom, where you have the resources to pursue your passions and spend time with loved ones.
Exactly. Speaking of passions, the book highlights that many millionaires are incredibly passionate about their work. It's not just a job, it's something they love, something that gives them purpose.
Like that saying, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right. And that passion fuels their success. It gives them the drive to overcome obstacles and achieve great things.
It makes you wonder how many of us are truly passionate about our work.
It's definitely a question worth pondering. And the book encourages us to explore different paths if our current work isn't fulfilling.
All this talk about passion makes me think of another point from the book, mentors.
Ah, yes, mentors are super important in the lives of many millionaires. They offer guidance, support, and encouragement on the road to success.
And they push their mentees to go beyond their comfort zones and chase their dreams.
Exactly. Remember the story about Mr. Belk, that average student who ended up building a successful medical device company? His life took a turn because a counselor encouraged him to take the SATs.
That's a great example. It shows how mentors can open doors and help us see possibilities we might miss otherwise.
And finding a mentor doesn't have to be this formal thing. It could be a friend, a family member, even someone you admire from afar.
It's about finding people who inspire you and offer valuable insights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears and talk about something a little more mysterious, how millionaires make investment decisions.
The Millionaire Mind really breaks down this world of investing and offers some practical advice for everyone.
So they're not relying on some secret insider info or risky schemes.
No, not at all. The book emphasizes that most millionaires are actually very conservative and disciplined investors.
So no chasing the latest hot stock tip or trying to time the market.
Nope. They get that building wealth is a long game. It takes patience and a good strategy.
What kind of investments do they typically go for?
They tend to invest in things they understand, areas where they have experience or a strong interest.
Playing to their strength and using what they know to make smart decisions.
Exactly. And they diversify their investments too. No putting all their eggs in one basket.
Spreading their risk across different asset classes, industries, and locations makes sense.
They're also patient investors, not looking for a quick buck. They're willing to hold on to their investments and let them grow over time.
Like Warren Buffett's famous buy and hold approach.
Exactly. A tried and true strategy for building wealth over the long run.
Now, I'm curious, what does the book say about financial advisors? Do millionaires use them?
Surprisingly, many millionaires don't rely heavily on financial advisors.
Really? That's unexpected, considering how much wealth they have.
Right. But remember, they're often very knowledgeable about finances themselves, and they like to be in control of their money.
They've educated themselves and trust their own judgment.
Exactly. And if they do seek advice, they're very picky about who they choose.
Looking for advisors who align with their investment style and who have a solid track record.
And they're not afraid to ask questions and hold those advisors accountable.
They're not just blindly following recommendations, they're actively involved in the decision-making.
Taking charge of their financial future and making informed choices.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about something else that's often seen as a symbol of wealth homeownership.
This is where the Millionaire Mind really flips the script on what we think we know.
So they're not all living in those massive mansions we see in movies.
Not necessarily. The book points out that millionaires prioritize value and location over size and luxury.
Looking for homes that are well-built, well-maintained, and in good neighborhoods.
Exactly. They see a home as both a place to live and an investment.
Considering things like resale value, property taxes, the whole neighborhood vibe.
Right, and they're smart negotiators.
Yeah.
They'll push to get a good price.
Not afraid to walk away if a deal isn't right for them.
Patient and disciplined, just like with their other investments.
Absolutely.
You know, it's amazing how the millionaire mind really changes how we think about wealth.
Uh,
It's not all about fancy cars and huge houses. It's a different way of thinking.
yeah, it really is. One of the biggest things I took away is that millionaires are incredibly intentional about their lives. They have a clear vision for what they want financially and personally, and they make choices that get them there.
Like they've got this internal compass guiding them towards their goals.
Hmm.
And they're not afraid of making hard decisions or sacrifices.
Exactly. And they're not just thinking about their own success. They also get the importance of giving back to their community and making a positive impact.
Right, the book talks about how many millionaires are involved in philanthropy, supporting causes they believe in.
And it's not just about donating money. They're often actively involved in these organizations, volunteering their time and sharing their expertise.
So it's not just about accumulating wealth, it's about creating a life of purpose and meaning.
Exactly. And that sense of purpose, that desire to make a difference, seems to connect a lot of these millionaires.
It's inspiring to see how they use their success to create positive change in the world. Let's talk a little more about how millionaires think differently. We've talked about successful intelligence, risk-taking, and investing, but there's also this underlying belief they have in their own ability to succeed.
Yeah, they don't let fear or doubt hold them back. They have a strong sense of self-efficacy, a belief that they can overcome any challenge and create the life they want.
And they're not afraid to keep learning and growing along the way, always looking for new knowledge, developing new skills,
Yeah,
adapting.
it's a growth mindset, this belief that they can always get better and achieve more.
And that mindset is so important for anyone who wants to build wealth, because the journey to financial success isn't always easy.
There will be bumps along the way, setbacks and challenges. But it's that resilience, that determination to keep learning and pushing forward that makes the difference.
And it's not about following some strict formula or trying to get rich quick. It's about developing the right mindset, building good habits, and making smart choices consistently.
Exactly. This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of what it means to be successful.
Me too. So for our listeners who have been with us on this journey, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
I'd say take a good look at your own beliefs about wealth and success. Are you holding yourself back with doubts? Do you truly believe you can reach your goals?
That's a really powerful question because sometimes we're our own biggest obstacle.
Absolutely. Challenge those doubts, embrace a growth mindset, and start taking action. Turn those dreams into reality.
This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing your insights.
It was my pleasure. Always happy to talk about this stuff.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to think differently about wealth and success. Remember, you have the power to create the life you want. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time for another exciting exploration.